Alrighty, everyone. I'm Madison Crews, and I am here with head coach Darren Powell of Lexington. So, coach, you guys had your first regular season matchup already on March 9th, where you faced off against Northern Colorado, Hailstorm FC. The match ended 0-0. What were your overall thoughts of that matchup?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Madison. Appreciate you having us on the show. But first and foremost, yeah, we thought a very positive opening night for us. There was lots of things that within the game that we thought we did quite well. Obviously, keeping a clean sheet is an obvious one, and both teams were able to manage to do that. So it's good on opening night to make sure we were organised defensively, and we're pleased with that. But we also had a fair share of possession within the game and a couple of half chances during the course of the game. So I think, from a coach early on in the season, it was like, the game where we can actually probably do a little bit more and a little bit better. So that's really good feedback for the players in their preparation. So we don't want to be, having our best game in game one, but something where we can grow into. So I thought Northern Colorado played well. They were very well organised and disciplined defensively also. But I felt over the course of the game, I felt, in possession, we did some really nice things, but things that we can certainly improve upon. And that's what we'll look to take into the next couple of games.
Of course. And you guys have got the chance to rebuild a lot of that roster. So, how has it been kind of getting these players to connect, and how has the chemistry been?
Yeah, no, I think, the players have been fantastic, for preseason from day one. They've been really open-minded in wanting to learn and get better themselves. And that doesn't matter what stage of their career they're at, if they're just starting or had successful careers so far within the league and within other leagues. So, yeah, no, it's been really good. Everybody seems to get along really well. Everyone's passionate. And I think the common thread between everybody is, Lexington's a new club, so there's an opportunity to create some history, with the club. And I think everyone wants to do that. And they believe in the ownership. Have been fantastic and really want to help people and players and grow soccer in Lexington. And so I feel like that common thread goes throughout the first team and then over into the women's team and then also, through the academy. So that common thread is special. And that's something that the players really want to get behind, and they want to play their part, and they want to be a part of that history. And they know the more successful they can be on the field and the more successful this team can be. And that's really been that common thread that's brought everyone together from so many different backgrounds and so many different countries and so on and so forth and sort of different experiences. And as we get, everyone starts to get to know each other, those personal experiences and memories come out and are shared with other players. So that's what's been really fun. So great group of guys, really applying themselves. And I think, the group will get stronger, as a community as well as on the field during the course of the year.
Definitely. And one thing that's a little different for you too, it's your first year as the head coach of Lexington. You came in from being the player development and first team assistant for Inter Miami FC. So coming into this experience, what were some of the lessons or the things that you took away from your previous coaching roles that will be valuable, especially coming into Lexington?
Yeah, no, I think again, I've been very fortunate to be in projects, dating back even to going to Elon when Elon hadn't previously been Division One for very long. So growing that program as a college coach, and then Orlando City transitioning the academy into from a pay to play model to a fully funded MLS model, and then going to San Antonio being the first team head coach and setting up the academy there, and then into Miami, where the director of player development was more along the lines of looking after the academy as well as the second team, and then it kind of just evolved. And I was fortunate to be on the first team staff last season, which was an amazing season on several different fronts and the experiences you have. And I think all those experiences combined, I couldn't tell you there's one moment that helps, but Lexington is a program that last year, the people there and the staff members there were working really hard, and it's so difficult in year one when you working with a team and growing a club. Everyone's working extremely hard. So fortunate to come in year two and now hopefully keep growing this project. So it's still a very new project, and there's still things that will continue to improve as a club. But ultimately, my responsibilities are the first team. So combining all these experiences, working with some, top level professionals at the first team MLS level, to developing players that have now gone on, and representing first teams in several different leagues, even around the world, from players from San Antonio in that moment. You use those experiences, and nothing really is a first time, if that makes sense now. So you've experienced many different things in terms of from travel situations, from player management, from return to play for players, how long that takes in certain instances. So you combine all those experiences, and hopefully then now we can make Lexington a super, super strong project, and hopefully fulfill what the owners would like to do here, and create that legacy for soccer in Lexington.
And you've talked a lot about it in the past, like couple of questions. I mean, just about the development of a lot of these clubs and how they have that academy set up, and then they also have second teams, and then building up to getting to the first team. How are you taking that and trying to establish something like that at Lexington?
No, 100%. I mean, I think, look, if you're a young aspiring player, you like to see it, and as soon as you can get around it, you see it, you taste it. That's what those young players want to aspire to be there. So that's what we need to create. You've got to create a good product at the top end of the first team. So that's something you really want to be. And there's nothing like a feeling for a young player to go and represent your hometown team. So that can be a great starting point in careers. Now, does everyone aspire just to play for that team? Maybe not. It may be, Barcelona, Manchester United. You've got to have those big dreams, but there has to be a starting point. And part of that pathway can include, your hometown team now for a young Lexington player. So for me, creating a clear pathway for players, so they know if they're performing well, they can see that next level. So even a U12, if he's doing really well, can we put him with the U14s? So you create that smooth transition throughout the club, and that's done by communication, working together, helping the coaches. So we're just in the infancy of that here, but creating that clear pathway for young players to aspire to be at the next level, and that next level can be for a U12 at the U14. So they can see that. We managed to play a couple of boys during preseason that did a really good job. So it was nice to get them in games, and those young men will continue to continue to improve, and they get a taste of it. And when you talk to those boys, they're super excited, and I know they're representing Lexington in the Academy Cup this weekend. So but they get super excited and they want to come back. So maybe school holidays and spring breaks and summer, we can incorporate them. So then what they do is then they tell the friends on the team when they go back to their club teams, and it gets this excitement and buzz, and players want to do that. So that's what pushes development, and you want to just make sure that they can see that, and see that integration between coaches, between players, and between teams.
Absolutely. I mean, just talking about the development process of it and how it's developed all over the US, especially. Like, it's not just you have to stay in a club. You can go through the high school route and then go collegiately and then come back in, or you can go up the building route and go through the academy and build up to MLS. And I think the way that it's been developed so well now is so great, especially for how well soccer has grown here in America.
No, 100%. I mean, one of the things I was fortunate growing up in England, and I'm very passionate about it. It's something that I'm really passionate about. But when I first came over and started coaching, the top talented players were being asked to play at like almost 3 games at once, and it was impossible. And the players themselves, as a young 14, 15-year-old, they don't want to upset anybody. They just want to play. They just want to enjoy it. So they're not sure if I should play this game, that game, and that's not fair to the player. So, that gives them stresses. So then they maybe not develop as well. So having clear pathways, whichever way that is, and what you're committed to, you have an opportunity. And with soccer growing so much over the last couple of years, more participants, there's so many more localized opportunities. And that's what obviously the MLS is over the base of the country. USL is going into maybe smaller population markets, but they're in these population markets, so now players have these opportunities to grow and pursue their dreams, so to speak. So for me, I'm very passionate about it, and something over 30 years ago since being in America, is create that clear pathway so that young man knows the direction he can go and what can he achieve. And I feel as players, if you work hard as a young player and really commit to being a better soccer player and trying to improve every day, and that's with training, and that's on technical, tactical, physical. You need to work at all those aspects. If you're getting lots of contacts on the ball, you can improve, and you will get opportunities, and you will get spotted, and then make the most of your opportunity when it arrives.
Of course. And looking at Lexington as a whole, I mean, coming in from last season, it's only their second season in USL League One, but last season they came in ninth. And, coming into this season and you being your first time here, your first time head coach, second year in the league, how has it been to kind of establish going into this season? How have you been able to kind of establish a winning culture in your side after what happened last season and then coming in and being in the second season in the league?
I mean, we haven't established a winning culture yet, so hopefully that happens this year very quickly. But a winning mentality, I expect to see that every day. So to answer the question, for you, it's like, okay, we've got to develop that, and I think it's a desire to do well. Everyone's trying to win, but that desire to do well and do more, to get better, to improve, is something that we've been installing daily, and that's done behind the scenes when we're in the video room, whether we're on the grass, wherever we're at, if it's the indoor facility or the gym. These are all things that are fueling to create that discipline, so players have that desire to get better, and when they push themselves to the best of their capabilities, they will achieve more. Now, again, does that guarantee wins? No, but it does guarantee a really good opportunity to win as many games as possible. And the players have been first class, and a lot goes into that. That winning stage. But I think we're in a very good place with the Lexington players. I think to a man, every one of them's really started to settle in, enjoy the club, enjoy the environment, enjoy the training. And we did an exercise a couple of weeks ago, which kind of really embodied that. And it was one team was 1-0 up, and the other team was trying to tie, just a scenario game, as we would call it. And at the end of the 10-minute block there, I think every player just sank to their knees with the final score, because there was a chance on a corner to maybe tie the game, and it didn't quite happen, and the final whistle went, and players were happy but tired, and it was amazing just to see, and just all these bodies on the floor from a training session, how much it meant. So for me as a coach, they're the sort of moments that you go, this team's going to be all right, and we've got a good group of players and a good group of guys that are really passionate about representing this club and doing the best that they can.
I know I'm excited for this season, especially just the competition in USL League One is so crazy competitive. I mean, I feel like every game for you guys is almost like a battle each time, because all of these teams have so much talent and so much like drive to win. So how do you kind of balance that out, it being in a league that has so many powerhouse teams?
No, I think that every game's going to be close. So, like at the start of the season, that any team on any given day can beat one another, and that's what the beauty of these leagues is about. So for us, it's just making sure we focus on our process, and more so than the outcome. So our process each week, how we prepare for games, we like to make that consistent. Obviously, when you've got 3-game weeks, it's slightly different, but we get those rhythm, get those routines for the team. So for me, we focus on that process. It's something, personally as a coach, we've used many times before, and you're constantly tweaking it, trying to make it better. So we take a lot of pride in that. So, again, like we spoke about, it's making sure all these players are as game ready as possible. They're fresh. They understand. There's clarity on what they need to do. And then it's on them to try and execute and put their best foot forward. And that's what we do. That's what we focus on, because if you just focus on winning and losing games, which I know as a coach you're judged on, but if you just focus on that, you can drive yourself crazy because there's so much that you don't control in those moments as a player and as a coach. So focus on the process. You do things right, do things often. Good things are going to happen.
Absolutely. And my last question for you, coach, I want to kind of touch back a little bit on the development process of things. A lot of head coaches, you're not just developing players, you're developing people as well, especially if they come in from a young age and they're moving up. So how do you kind of balance that as a head coach?
Yeah, great question. Again, for me, it's just being a good person. Like everybody around, it's like we want a roster of good people. So, when players transition in, especially when they're young and maybe still in high school, everybody's agenda is slightly different than somebody that is on the roster that maybe have children and is a little bit older. So, it's just making sure that when they come into the environment, they feel good, feel safe, and it's where they can improve. So for me, when I look at young players, I hold them accountable for effort and attitude. Older players, not so much. It's more about execution and delivering, on game day. But young players, it's about making sure your effort and your attitude is correct. And by that, your attitude needs to be one that you're ready, willing to learn, ready to come here and work. And it's not your right to be; it's a privilege to be here. So, okay, give everything you have, and that's what really you hold them accountable for. And then you incorporate it in the team, and then they can look at some of the older players. And an example I've been giving players, having witnessed it myself over the summer, was Messi scores a free kick, and he's probably the best player, in my opinion, to play the game. And just being around that environment and seeing him score a free kick on his first game for the club. And then the next morning he's in the building by, like, I was in the building, but like by 7:15, and seeing him come in, first one there. And then I know some of the younger players that have played with us in MLS too, and they're getting in at maybe 8:15 for an 8:30 arrival time, and Messi's already there. And now for those young players to see that, it's like, it's not by accident that you can be the best player. You really work at it and work at your craft, and that's something that really stood out to me. Is the best player in the world just scored a goal that's gone global, and he's the first guy at training. To me, says it all.
Absolutely. I mean, just being around Messi, I don't even know how I would handle any of that. I mean, gosh, I don't even know. I mean, the fact that he's even here, like in the US, I'm like, this is crazy.
Amazing for soccer. Yeah, it's
Oh,
amazing.
it's phenomenal. It really is. It's so fun getting to, like, be around a league and have, like, a league in our own backyard, and
Yeah,
Messi can just come play here. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
it's amazing. It's amazing, and I think as we continue to grow soccer in these communities, it's just going to inspire more players to play and the youngsters to play. And then now hopefully they can come through because they can see on their pathway that there's a first team to play for, and as many communities as we can around the country, which is what's happening, and what why we're a part of Lexington, and improving hopefully the young players here to potentially play for the first team over the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Powell, I just want to again say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to me. I really enjoyed it. I know that we're all looking forward to the USL season getting more under wrap than it already has. It's already kind of started, but getting more into the season, and hopefully we can have you back on here again, talk a bit more about what's going on as the season progresses.
No, 100%. Thank you for inviting me. And, I love talking about soccer. So hopefully I didn't overrun too much. But thanks again for having me. And I appreciate all the work and support that you give the game.